Coca-Cola.
Hey everyone, just drinking some hot Ricola tea. Obviously not sponsored. How's everyone doing? Let's see who's in the chat. Everyone, you are here early. Nice, nice. Just reading your messages. We'll get started at make sure this is good. Yep. We'll get started right at 2 o'clock, so we still have about 15 minutes left to go. I always start a little early and give some announcements before we get started. Bonnie, nice. Yes, yes. Very good. How am I? I think I've had like a little bit of a sore throat the past week. It's not the thing that shall not be named. But yeah, it's something. So I've got some hot tea, so I should be okay today. All right. So basic announcements. Check out the prerequisites. Today's lesson is advanced. Now, I should clarify that. If I just say advanced, it doesn't mean that only advanced people can participate today. It means the topic, specifically one of the two. Excuse me for 1 second. Let me check here. Specifically, one of the two topics we're going to be doing today is advanced level. The other one is really just maybe intermediate, low intermediate, I'd say. So we're going to be learning two topics, the torado form as well as ﷺ지라도. And torado is actually more intermediate. I would say you're free to learn that as long as you're okay using these prerequisites. You're going to be good with torado. It's not really difficult. But the second form we're going to be doing, ﷺ지라도, it's not that it's hard to conjugate. It's not that it's difficult to use either. But it's not going to affect your Korean. It's not going to help you sound better unless you're already past this level. So I'll say that it's like one of those things like like if you're just learning how to cook and you see a recipe for like some fancy, super fancy French dish, and you want to learn it anyway, great, but you won't be able to make it until you've gotten to that level. So that's why I would classify the ﷺ지라도 form as more advanced. Bonnie, you got the horse shirt. Nice. I want to see it. Tweet it at me. I want to see it in pink. I don't know what it would look like in pink. Does it look okay? Let me find that one right here. I'll pin it here. Oh yeah, good you got the shirt, not the hoodie, because the weather now is getting it's getting a little bit warm now. Speaking of summer, I only have about a month left, and then I'm going to be going to Korea as well. I'll be there this whole summer, so about 3 months almost. And that means we will have more live streams, but I won't be doing a live stream starting the middle of next month because then I'm going to be gone. So I obviously can't do a live stream. Now, there is 1 week where I could do a live stream, but it would be like literally a couple days before I leave. So I'm thinking if I should do it or not. I might change the live stream that's like in the middle of May. May's next month, right? Yeah. I might change that live stream to be either just like a Q&A or something else simple because I'm really going to be leaving a couple days after that. So I don't think I should be doing a live stream and while I'm still packing my bags, and like even some of the equipment I'm using will have to go into my bag. So we'll see about that. But up until then, we'll have regular live streams. Next Sunday is going to be a live stream as usual. You know what? Actually, I think next Sunday might be the last lesson. Hold on. Let me check my calendar. That sounds so nerdy. Okay, I have a live stream today. Obviously, you're watching it. A live stream next Sunday, the 24th. And wait a minute. Oh yeah, and then another live stream May 1st. Okay, and that will probably be the last live class that we're going to be doing before I take a break. And then I'll come back doing more live classes probably in the end of August. I'd say middle or end of August. Okay. Cameron. Hey, Cameron, is this going to be harder than Pa? No, this is half of this lesson, I would say, is really just fine for any level as long as you're already familiar with the prerequisites. So you should already know the to form. By that, I don't mean the particle to. I mean the grammar form. So like hada would become 해도, like even if you do something, as well as ﷺ, which is used after nouns. If you're familiar with these, as well as how to conjugate action verbs into adjectives, for example, how to say like a person who is going, so 가다 becoming 가는 사람. If you're comfortable with saying a person who will go, 갈 사람, a person who went, 간 사람, like that, these things, then you'll be fine with torado. 찌라도, I would say you already want to be fine with 찌라도. I mean, with torado in order to do 찌라도, because 찌라도 is the less common version of it. And it's not more difficult, it's just less commonly used, and it has more of a fancy feel to it. So it's less common, more for advanced people, more for people who have already learned the basics and want some new things to add flavor to their Korean, not something you're going to stick into a beginner level sentence. It would just sound awkward. It would sound really out of place. Okay, so announcements. If you are a Patreon member, make sure to get today's worksheet. I think today's worksheet only has like 6 examples on it, so it's actually not a very complicated topic today, so there's only like 6 extra ones, but you can get the worksheet. You can also get this outline as soon as the live stream is over. You can pick up today's outline as well on Patreon. Also, unrelated, but if you are a YouTube member, of which many of you are, anyone whose name is in green is a YouTube member, you get to watch these abridged versions of these live streams the same night that they go up. So after today's live stream, as soon as I say 그럼 다음에 또 봐 and close the live stream, I quickly rush over to my computer and I'm like for like 3 hours, getting like carpal tunnel syndrome and everything. Actually, I'm joking about that. I use one of these, which is good for my wrist. Editing like crazy, uploading that video so that you can watch it the same night. So that usually goes up after, I don't know, like 3 hours, 4 hours after the live stream has ended. Again, that is for members. Also, if you are a YouTube member, you get to watch right now, it's the first 12 episodes of my Master Politeness Levels course. So I have that new course, which just premiered last week, Master Politeness Levels. Currently, everyone can watch the first 2 episodes, and I'll be posting a new episode every week. But if you're a channel member, you actually will have access to many of them in advance. Currently, members can watch episode 12, and 13 will be coming tomorrow, I believe. So every 2 or 3 days, I'm going to keep uploading. I'm going to keep uploading more every week. So members will have finished it, if they want, before everyone else has even gotten to episode like 5 or 6 or something like that. So yeah, that's just another thank you if you are a member. Again, the course is not paid. It is 100% free. Members simply get to access it in advance as a thank you for your support. Okay. Yes. All right. That is all the announcements I have. Oh, and then of course, I'll put this in the chat. I do have an active Discord channel. It is open. It is also free. You can join right now, hang out with other people who are learning Korean, or just lurk in there and just kind of hide behind the keyboard and wait until someone else says something and then participate. That's cool too. There are actually a lot of people in there, and I have seen it sometimes get quite active. Right now, during the live stream, you could usually find people chatting there as well. Make sure to check that out. I put the link in the chat, as well as it's in the video description, as well as it's on my channel. You can find it everywhere. But yeah, it's in the chat box as well. Okay. I think that's all the announcements. So if you have any questions, now's the time. You've got about 7 minutes. Again, apologies for if you hear my voice. I'm not going through puberty again. It's just I have a bit of a sore throat. But that's why I've got this amazing Ricola tea. Bet you didn't know they had tea. It really just tastes like someone put a bunch of Ricola and melted it down. It tastes like melted Ricola. Ricola. They They should pay me. Okay. I can't pronounce your name. You asked, do you have beginner lives? Yes. In fact, most of the lives that I did at first, so from back 2018, 2019, most of those were beginner level. Not all of them, but I'd say the majority were beginner. These days, I still do beginner as well, although most of the ones I do now are intermediate and advanced because, you know, that's what people are requesting. So if you also want to know, another benefit of being a member is that you get to make requests and they go higher on the priority list. So if you're a member and you've requested a topic, I've likely already done it, or it's on my list to do next. Rachel Temkin says, I was telling my Korean friend about the kitten I'm fostering. Aww. And I was able to use the 만하다. So you said, 손만 해, or 손만 해요. 손만 해요. Yes, that would be perfect way to use that. Oh, look, it's the size of my hand. At my at my mom's house, where I used to live, before I got my own place, we have a cat still there. Got him in 2005. He's still around. He's big now, really big, but he's getting old. You know, that's like, he's as old as I've been studying Korean. Actually, yeah, about the same, almost down to the same month, almost. And he was also, yeah, he was like the size, you could fit the entire kitten in your palm. Just kind of hold like that. You know, his head was like 50% of that size, of course. It's this giant head, little tiny kitten, you know, put him in a box. Yeah, now he's like giant. He still likes boxes though. Cypher asks, is KeyCat also going to Korea? Yes, KeyCat is also going to be in Korea with me. Hello from Columbus, Ohio. Nice. Columbus, where is Columbus? I don't know. I'm not sure where that's. I know where Ohio is, I think. Yeah, I know where Ohio is. I can find that on a map. My grandma has a lot of cats, yes. Okay, we got a few more questions. I have like 3 minutes left and then we'll get started. If you have a second, you can check the... I can't talk. You can talk. I don't know what I'm saying. The prerequisites are right there. Georgia asks, are you a dog person or a cat person? I am I don't have any pets. So right now I'm a neither. When I was growing up though, I had several pets. We usually had a cat though in our family. So I would have to say more of a cat person, but I don't have any pets right now. I mean, cats are, I like cats more, but I also admit they're pretty much useless. They're kind of like a decoration. If you're lucky, they're a decoration. But they are cute though, cute decoration. So I guess a cat person. But then I like some dogs too. Stationary bunny. Oh, this is, it's Ricola tea. It really tastes like melted Ricola. It's just really hot. I made this over 2 hours ago. It's still like boiling hot. So I'll have to drink that very slowly. Oh, and if anyone is wondering, most countries I've heard are actually open now. Not all, you should check, but many countries now are open for travel to Korea. So if you're wanting to go to Korea for the past 2 years and you couldn't for whatever reason, now is your chance. If you want, it's open. I'm going to be going. Although I also went last year anyway, twice. But this year I'm going to be going as well. Stationary bunny, yes, like the cough drops. Yes, just like that. Lauren says, I have sheep, but they're basically floofy dogs that eat grass. Well, so basically like a giant cat. Or I guess like a dog. Some dogs just eat grass too. Some dogs are just like, I don't know, they're just like, are you really an intelligent creature? Some dogs do like the dumbest things. But then yeah, cats do dumb stuff too, so. Akazawa Yuki, do you draw? No, I don't. I don't draw. I once, many times actually, as a younger kid, I tried to learn how to draw. I couldn't. My best friend at the time was very good at drawing, so I tried to follow him, but I wasn't able to get good at all. I'm going next May. And Small, you said you're also hoping to go next year. That would be great. Yeah, I think next year would also be a great time. Anytime. This year, so I'll be there quite a while for this year. If you have any requests for videos you'd like to see while I'm there, let me know now. I'm in the planning stages. Every day I'm making plans for what I want to film when I go there. So if you have an idea for a video that you think, oh, Billy should make this, please send it to me. You can message me on Discord or just, tag me on Discord or tweet it at me, whatever. I'll see it. Write a YouTube comment. That's fine too. The drawings in your books. Oh, thank you. I didn't draw those. They're credited to the illustrator in the first page. That's one of my friends though did draw those, but not me. Stationary Bunny. Okay, I'll have to start this, but you said I'm leaving next month for the summer. Shopping, food, coffee shops. I could do that. I know a bunch of nice cafes. Nice coffee shops, not because of myself, but because I have several friends who are really into that. So sometimes they'll drag me like, hey, let's go to this. I found a new place. And you go there. It's like, oh, wow, it's really nice. That's pretty common. So maybe we'll see. I would like to do a video at a cafe. So we'll see. I don't want to spoil what it is, but you mentioned norebang. The only problem with that, I do like to sing. I do often go to norebang usually, but copyright. I wouldn't be able to upload a video without getting the video either taken down or flagged or whatever. It would be a really big pain, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so we're going to be learning 2 forms today, and the first form we're learning is more in the intermediate level. But both of them are easy to use. For the first form, this form means even if. And the way you make it is you just take a verb stem. So if you have the verb hada, you just get the verb stem, which is ha. If you have the verb 먹다, to eat, the verb stem is just 먹. Then you attach torado. So 하더라도, 먹더라도. That's all you have to do. It's pretty easy. Yes. So, when is this form used? Well, I said it means even if. Now, it's only used in hypothetical situations, just like even if in English. But there's a catch. So let's just say, for example, it's a hypothetical. Let's assume that even if, but specifically, it's only for situations that you think won't happen. It's probably not going to happen. Even if, I don't think so, but even if. So you can kind of translate it like that. I don't think it will happen, but even if it does, so even if whatever it comes after, even if that were true, I don't think so, but even if. And keep this in mind, because this isn't just a trait. This isn't just a property of the word even if. This is specific to this form. Other forms might not require this, but this form does. So this is when you think something will not happen. And this is the most important part about this form. It's even if when you think something won't happen. The reason is there are other forms which don't have this. We'll talk about that. Only this one does. Let's see here. I'll take a break for a second. You can absorb this, and then I'm going to erase the board and add some more information to it. How's everyone doing? Cameron said, can we have Miss Go? Yeah, that's her name. Grade your Korean. I actually, believe it or not, I actually had that as an idea on my list forever. For like 3 years, that was on my idea list. I have a list of ideas. sound like a notepad with lots of ideas, and that was in one of the ideas. And I I brought it by her because she's never been in any of my videos. She has no interest. But I thought, hey, here's an idea. What if you grade my Korean off screen? Like, you know, they just see your hands and they hear your voice. And she's like, maybe. Well, I'll think about it. And I was like, how about she comes on screen with a bag over her head to hide her identity. And then she's like, I don't think that's such a good idea. I think people are going to get the wrong idea if I do that. So we scrapped the idea. Basically, long story short, she doesn't really want to she doesn't want to appear in any of my videos. But yeah, I was toying around with that idea. And eventually I ended up, the video actually came out. That was the video that I did with Hyunwoo last year in Korea, which I released it, I think this year, February. We filmed it at the end of November. So it was like 2-month gap, in case you're wondering, when did I film it? And that was the video. It didn't have, we didn't have enough clips for it when I was originally planning, but I added more clips, you know, up till when we filmed it. And that was the video. It eventually did come out. Yeah, so that was the idea. All right. So back to the lesson. Then you might be wondering, how is this form different than the regular to form? For example, if you have hada, that would become 해도. Now this to form doesn't come after a verb stem. Note, it comes after a conjugated verb. So I don't want to see you writing 하도. That's actually a different word. It's a conjugated verb. So you first take the verb and conjugate it, and then you attach to. Sometimes, depending on the verb, that can look the same as the verb stem. For example, 가다, to go. Well, the stem of 가다 is 가, but also it happens to be that the conjugated form of 가, which normally becomes 가아, shortens to just 가. So you're left with the same thing. So people might see this, oh, it's 가도, therefore it's the verb stem. No, it's still the conjugated verb. So this uses the conjugated verb form, not just the verb stem. Then you might be wondering, how is this form different than this form? Because this one also can mean even if. For example, if I were to say, 하더라도, even if you do something, hypothetically, or 해도, even if you do something, hypothetically still, what's the difference? Again, it's this. When you say torado, you're implying you don't think it's going to happen. In addition, what did I write? Impossible. This form also has a stronger feel than just saying to. So if you're in a situation where you can use either one, this one sounds stronger, like even if versus even if. Okay. However, besides the difference in nuance, most of the time, and there is an exception we'll talk about later in the lesson, most of the time you can switch this form for this form and it will make sense in any sentence, as long as this nuance doesn't matter. So if you don't mind that you're conveying this nuance, that you don't think it's going to happen, you can use either form. And when you see a sentence that uses torado, if you can't make sense of it, you can just swap it to this form in your head and it will still make sense 100% of the time. Again, there's a nuance difference, but usage, you can use either one. Winning the lottery? Sure. Yeah, that could be something. Like, even if you win the lottery, even if, whatever you want to say, whatever's impossible, whatever's never going to happen. Or at least you think. See, it doesn't have to be something that actually never happens or not. It's what you think. You can't predict the future by using this form. It's what you personally think, it's not going to happen. But even if it happened, it has that kind of nuance to it. Okay. That is all the explanation you need for this form. So I'm going to give you a couple sentences now. I'm going to erase this in just a second. Let's see. Actually, we are good on time. Okay. Again, this form is really more just like an intermediate level form. So if you're following me so far, that's good. 실제 얼굴이 사진과 다르더라도 놀라지 않을게요. Now, since this is an advanced level live stream, I'm not going to be going over every single word and every single sentence as slowly as I typically do, but let's still go over this one. 실제 얼굴이 사진과 다르더라도 놀라지 않을게요. So 실제 얼굴, your real face. 사진, a photo, 다르다, to be different than a photo. So even if your photo is different than your real face, so even if you look different than your photo, 놀라다 is to be surprised. 놀라지 않을게요. So I'm not going to be surprised even if your real face is different than your photo. So this would be something you can say to someone when you meet them for the first time. You've never met them before. You've only seen their photo. And you just want to be like, hey, don't worry. Like, even if your real face is a bit different than your photo, I'm not going to be surprised. So don't worry. 실제 얼굴이 사진과 다르더라도 놀라지 않을게요. And it's not simply even if, like, yeah, it probably will be, don't worry. No, this is like, hey, even if, I don't think so, but let's just say that, hypothetically. So I don't think it's going to happen, but even if. So it implies you don't think it really will happen, but you're just saying it anyway. Okay. I just want to go over a few sentences really quick because this form, once you understand how to use it, that's really it. There isn't any other thing special like how it's used with, other specific forms or anything. The next form is, but I don't like how I wrote that. Okay. 점심을 굶더라도 이 돈을 쓸 수 없어요. 점심 is lunch. 굶다 is to starve. So in this case, it's like skip lunch. So even if you skip lunch, or even if I skip lunch here, even if I skip lunch, 이 돈, so this money, 쓸 수 없어요. So I can't use this money even if it means that I'm skipping lunch. So even if I just don't eat lunch, I just can't use this money. Again, torado. So it's implying you think you're not going to skip lunch. But even if I did, let's just say I didn't eat lunch, right? Although I will, even if I didn't, I'm not going to use this money. I can't use this money. 점심을 굶더라도 이 돈을 쓸 수 없어요. So even if I were to skip lunch, I just can't use this money. Okay. I've got two more sentences for this form, and then I want to go over to our advanced level form for today. Actually, while I'm doing these last two sentences, I want you to start thinking of a sentence of your own that you can write down. And that way we can have a few minutes where I'll take a look at some of your sentences. You don't have to write them in chat right now. Don't write them in chat right now, but start working on some. That way, after I do the next sentence, I can check them out. So start practicing on your own. I want to see a short sentence from you. Like I said, it doesn't have to be some long native level sentence. Just something short is good. 늦더라도 전화 주세요. 늦다 is to be late. So, even if you're late, again, I don't think you will be, but let's just say, even if, hypothetically speaking, you're late, 전화 주세요. Give me a call. Literally, give me a call, please. 늦더라도 전화 주세요. 늦더라도 전화 주세요. So please give me a call even if you're late. Okay, I have one more. I'm going to leave this up for a second because this was short. Let's see. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing with this form? Okay. I'm going to wait a second. Everyone doing okay? 오징어 게임 okay, 하더라도, first of all, 하더라도, just a typo there. 조심해. So even if you're going to play the Squid Game, be careful. Yeah. Be very careful. Very careful. Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and write your sentences down in the chat now. After I go over this sentence, I'm going to look at some of your sentences. 다이어트를 하더라도 식사는 꼭 하세요. 다이어트, so a diet. So 다이어트를 하다 is to go on a diet, to do a diet, literally. So even if you go on a diet, even if you diet, 식사 is eating. That's food. 식사는 꼭, so make sure to. 꼭 하다 is to make sure to do something. 하세요. So make sure to eat. Even if you're going to diet, at least make sure that you're eating. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? You're not just going to like not eat food. There is no such diet as like you just don't eat at all. So at least make sure that you're eating, right? Eat something, right? Okay. 다이어트를 하더라도 식사는 꼭 하세요. Okay. Now I'm going to check your sentences in the chat. So I'm looking down at your sentences right now. Let's see what else we got. 집에 왔더라도 전화 주세요. So even if you have already come home, give me a call. Okay. You don't need to use the past tense though, unless there was a need to specify that it's in the past tense. You could just say 오면, if you come home. That's going to be good enough. But there could be some context where if you wanted to say it like that, it could work. But if you mean, if you arrived at home, give me a call, then just if, you would use the 면 form for that. 자더라도 내일 피곤할 거예요. Okay, even if you were to sleep right now, you're going to be tired tomorrow. Very good sentence, Audrey. 일을 안 하더라도 돈이 충분할 것이다. Okay, so even if you weren't going to work, there's still, even if I didn't work, there's still going to be enough money. 있더라도 화나지 않을게요. So you would use 화를 내다, 화내다, but very good. Because you're doing something. 화나다 would be just you're feeling angry, but not that you're getting angry at someone. So if you mean like I'm not going to be angry at you, that's 화를 내다. But good sentence. 번개를 여전히 와야 할 거예요. Even if you were to get hit by lightning, is that what you're trying? That would be the worst boss ever. Even if you get hit by lightning, you gotta come into work. I have an important basketball game to go to tonight. That would be terrible. I would just quit immediately. 맥주 사 마시더라도 운전할 수 있어. Oh no. No. But good sentence, Christopher. 자더라도 난 여전히 피곤해. Okay, so even if I sleep more, I'm tired as always. And Rodrigo Pacheco, it's used with the verb stem, not a conjugated verb. So double check on the spelling. Does this form work in other tenses? Yes, you can, if you need it. So you wouldn't just stick it in there for fun if you need it to be in another tense. So even if you had done something, but typically you won't. So typically, no, you won't need that. I'll just say that. But you could. Hey, Cameron. Thanks, Cameron. Cameron. It's our first donor today. Donor sounds like a organ donor or something. Our first donation today. Our first supporter today. Let's do 10 dabs. I'm doing them slow. 8, 9, 10. Remember, because my throat's a little bit sore, so I don't want to do them too much. But thank you. I can do them at that speed. Okay, let's see what other sentences. Let's read some quickly. 하루 운동을 하더라도 땀이 나오지 않을 거야. Just a little typo there, Carrie. Even if I were to exercise one day, I'm not going to sweat. If you wanted to say all day, that would be 하루 종일. You might have been trying to say all day, but what you wrote wasn't wrong if I exercise one day. Just reading everyone else's quickly. I'm going to read the members out loud, but I'm still reading everyone else's. 일어나 torado. Small typo, stationary bunny. torado. 운동할 수 없어요. Okay. So even if I wake up early tomorrow, I can't exercise. It's a good excuse. I'm with you there. Oh, I see. You already fixed it, Carrie. Nice. Okay. I was still scrolling down. I hadn't gotten there yet. Let's see. 배고프. Oh, Persian Prince. Remember, it's the verb stem, so not conjugated verb. 먹더라도 또 먹고 싶어. Okay. All right. Okay. Now let's go on to the next form. That was nice. I wanted to see how everyone's got it, and most people have gotten the general form. One thing to keep in mind again is that remember it uses the verb stem, so not the conjugated verb. So instead of 해 torado or something, you want to use the stem, which is just ha. If you're saying hungry, 배고프다, so it's 푸, not 파, 배고파요, not 배고파. It's not conjugated. It would be 배고프더라도, like that. So keep in mind, it is the verb stem, not conjugated verb. Conjugated verb is for the regular 도 form. So 해도, yeah. But this form, torado, is the verb stem. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's see here. Next, let's go on to our next form. I'm going to write it up first. Actually, I wrote that tool all weird. Okay. Let's see if I got everything. All right. The next form we're going to be learning is also a form that means even if, and that is ﷺ지라도. And the way you make it is you start with a verb stem, just like before. Then you attach if that verb stem ends in a consonant, or you attach just a lir if that verb stem ends with a vowel, followed by ﷺ지라도. Now, if the verb stem ends with this letter, then you're done. You don't need to do anything. Other than that, this is pretty much how it works. The general conjugation rules apply anytime you have this letter, which is really common. So if you've seen other exceptions to it, for example, like 살다 would just become 쌀지라도, right? You're not going to do 살을, you're not going to do anything like that. And this is standard. These happen with every single form whenever you have this adding, this sort of piece, a or a lir. So you'll see this sort of thing normal. Just letting you know, it's a common thing that verbs will all have this sort of thing. Okay. And that's all you need to know about conjugating it. So let's do an example. If you have the verb hada, the verb stem is ha. It ends in a vowel, so you attach a lir, and you're left with, wow, I tried to write to and la at the same time. 할지라도. If you have 먹다, 먹을지라도. That's it. Okay. So, what's the difference between this form and the other form? Well, the biggest difference, this form is much less commonly used than either the form to or torado. So you're not going to see it that much. Other than that, let me give you an example of what this form means. So let's do a quick sentence here. So we have a whatever verb, ﷺ지라도, followed by be. So if you have a sentence that looks like this, so you have whatever verb, even if be. This means even if A happens, or even if A is. So despite this, even if A, well, B still happens. B still is. That's pretty simple. It works like you would expect it to work. Now, there is a slight difference with this form in that this form tends to get used whenever B is something opposite of A, or if B is just something like unexpected. Typically, it gets used when B is something opposite of A. So like, even if you do A, or even if B, sorry, let me say it again. So even if A happens, or even if A is, well, B, which is going to be the opposite of that in some way. It doesn't have to be, though. It just tends to be used in that way a lot. So if you're wondering, when does this usually get used? It'll be often when there's some sort of opposite meaning here, but it doesn't have to. So it's not part of the grammar form that it has to show a opposite action happening. Just it tends to get used that way. And this form also means even if. But this form's feeling of even if is even stronger than torado. So if torado is like even if, this one's like even if that kind of helps. So because it tends to emphasize that stronger meaning, that's why it also tends to get used with more stronger B's, with stronger endings. Because if you're going to emphasize it more, well, you're probably going to emphasize, there's probably a reason why you're emphasizing that even more. Like, even if you did this, well, it kind of implies you're going to say something that's opposite of the first part. Again, it doesn't have to, but it has that feeling. So this one is even stronger. Now, however, this one doesn't have to be hypothetical. And it doesn't have to show a low chance of happening. So unlike torado, which is only like hypothetical, like let's just say even if, and torado, which said, well, I don't think so, but even if, this one doesn't have that. This is more simply a strong, even if. You know, I don't know, it could happen. Let's just say, even if that's true. Not that I don't think so, but let's just say it. So this doesn't have the requirement of something being a low chance of happening. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's the biggest difference with this form and the other one is, again, to summarize, this one's less common. It has a stronger even if feeling, and it doesn't have to be something that you think won't happen. Okay, is that good? Does that make sense? I don't want to rush. So make sure everyone gets that. Get notes on that. Okay, that's all you have to know about conjugating it. There's one other small thing that you should know about this. This form tends to get used often with the adverbs 피록 and 아무리. It doesn't have to be. There is no requirement that it does, but it tends to. Let's see. You might already know 아무리, but I'll just give you a quick overview of these again. 피록 is an adverb that means although, or even if, or even though. And it's used to simply add more emphasis to sentences that have that meaning of even if. So 비록, like although, even if, even though, it adds that meaning. And then 아무리, this one means more like however much of something that you do. So it emphasizes it as well, even if, even though, however much you do, however, like that. 아무리 is used a lot though normally. This is not a rare adverb. 비록 is a little more formal of an adverb. So if you're using a formal sentence and you're using this form, you'll typically see 비록 a lot, but it doesn't have to be. It just emphasizes that meaning even further. 아무리 would be like no matter how much you want to, no matter how much money you spend, it emphasizes however much, however, versus just saying even if you spend money. So this is like 아무리 써도. So like no matter how much money you use, 아무리 쓰더라도. So no matter how much you use, 아무리 쓸지라도. So no matter how much, even if you use however much money you may use. So this just means however much. And it also adds emphasis to those sorts of sentences. This one though is normally used. This one's like used, you can use it in any level of sentence. So if you only want to learn one, you probably should know this one already though. It's typically a beginner level adverb or maybe intermediate. But 아무리 is really common. 비록 is also commonly used with this form, but they're not required. 어차피 is not. 어차피 is a different meaning. 어차피 is like anyway, regardless, that sort of meaning. And I have other live streams where I talk about that sort of adverb, but that wouldn't be one of the ones that commonly gets used with this form. You could use it together, but it has nothing to do with the form. It would just be in the sentence together with it. Jack Kenny, yeah. 돈을 아무리 쓸지라도 부자니까 괜찮을 거야. Doesn't matter, yeah, even no matter how much money I use. Doesn't really matter because I'm rich. Pretty much is what that sentence. I wish that were true. I wish I were rich. Okay. And that's all you need to know. In fact, you don't even need to know this, that it's used with these adverbs. I just wanted to point it out because you might see them together. And some people have actually asked me to teach this form and included those adverbs when they're asking me to teach the form because they're common that you might think, oh, it's part of the form. It's not part of the form. They tend to get used together a lot. Another example would be like seeing 만약 with the 면 form, which just emphasizes, but it's not part of the form. It's simply an adverb that means if, even if, and it just emphasizes that. So that's an unrelated form. All right, so let's do a few example sentences. Comma and space. Oh, good. Okay. Okay. 로또에 당첨된다면, yeah, you could also use that if you were to win the lottery. But that's just an if form. This is an even if. But yeah, that's a good sentence too. 능력이 좋은 사람일지라도 이걸 혼자 다 할 수는 없어요. 능력이 좋다 is literally someone who is capable. So even if you're someone who's capable, this 일지라도 is from 이다, to be. So even if you are someone who's capable, 이것을, this thing, 혼자, alone, 다, completely, all of it, all, 하다, 할 수는 없어요. So you can't do all of this alone, even if you're someone who's capable. So even if you're someone who's capable, you can't do this thing on your own. 능력이 좋은 사람일지라도 이걸 혼자 다 할 수는 없어요. Even a person with high skills cannot do this all alone. Very good translation. You're cooking. Nice. What are you cooking? Yeah. So again, it's not implying you think they're not. This is not implying you think there's a low chance, right? You're just saying even if, like let's say, okay, they are someone who is skilled. They are someone who's capable. Still, even if they are, well, you can't do this by yourself. This isn't something you can do by yourself. Even if we say they're really capable, this isn't something you can do alone. So again, this does not imply that. If we were to switch the sentence to, 능력이 좋은 사람이더라도 이걸 혼자 다 할 수는 없어요. You could do this as well. Pardon my voice. So this is you don't think they are. This you don't think it's possible. Like, yeah, it's not, but even if they were. But no, this isn't what you're saying. This isn't the sentence you're making. You're saying even if they are, like, okay, let's say they are. But still, regardless of that. And then the second part of the sentence. The second part of the sentence here, the B section, is kind of the opposite of what A is saying, right? A is saying they're very capable. So, someone capable and skilled should be able to do it, but you can't do this alone. So it's to emphasize the opposite of something else. And it doesn't have to be this. You could have changed this to something else, and this part could still be fine. It just tends to get used in that sort of way. Okay. Let's do an easier sentence. That was a bit long. Let's see if I have an easier one. Yeah, let's do this one. This one's a little bit shorter. Okay, what does this sentence say? I want you to translate it. Write in the chat what this sentence means. 잠을 3시간 잘지라도 숙제는 다 할 거예요. 아무리 먹성이 좋은 사람일지라도 이걸 혼자 다 먹을 수는 없어요. Very nice, Paul. Yeah, no matter how good of an appetite you got, you can't eat this by yourself. Stingray, kaori. Kaori. If you're talking about like I believe that's kaori. You can eat them in Korea. There's another word for them too. Let me check. Yeah, kaori. It's one of the few Korean foods that I really didn't enjoy eating. There's different kinds. There's different types of stingray. This is one you can get. It's usually like seasoned. So it'll be like a side dish, and it's like very chewy, kind of like a sea cucumber, like that kind of texture, like really hard. It was like, for me, it was like chewing on a fin. And I wasn't really able to enjoy it. But some people really like it. 홍어. 홍어 would be skate fish. Tony Hawk's Pro 홍어. Yeah, 홍어 was another food I didn't enjoy. There's like a very small handful of foods that I can eat, but I don't enjoy in Korea. And kaori is one. 홍어 is another. I think that's it though, because I do like other ones that typically people don't like. I do like them, but just those two were like, oh, really hard to enjoy. Okay, I'm reading your translations. First one I think was stationary. Even if you sleep 3 hours, you have to do all the homework. There's no have to here though. 할 거예요. So we'll do it. Although in this case, it's probably talking about yourself, but it could also be in context. Could be talking about someone else. Like even if you only sleep 3 hours, you're gonna do all the homework. That could work. Do all the homework. I'm just reading your translations. Very nice. I was projecting. Even if I sleep 3 hours, you won't be able to do all the homework. Yeah. Can do all the homework. Yeah. All right. 잠을 3시간 잠을. So sleep. 잠을 자다 is to sleep. Literally to sleep a sleep. That's pretty common. They do that in Korean a lot. 잠을 3시간 잘지라도 숙제는 다 할 거예요. 잠을 3시간 잘지라도 숙제는 다 할 거예요. So even if I were to sleep 3 hours, so even say I sleep 3 hours, again, it's not implying that I don't think that I will. It's simply implying even if, well, 숙제는 다 할 거예요. I'll do all the homework. So as for the homework, I'll do all of it. I'll do all the homework. 잠을 3시간 잘지라도 숙제는 다 할 거예요. Omar. I always think of I only knew one person named Omar before. Is it only me? Omar? Is it Omar Gooding, right? Yeah, Omar Gooding. Omar Gooding, I think is the younger brother of Cuba Gooding Jr. or something like that. Omar, I don't know. No one knows what I'm talking about. There's a TV show on Nickelodeon called like Wild and Crazy Kids, and Omar was one of the hosts. Anyway, thank you, Omar. I'm sorry for going off on a tangent. Did you write a message that I can read? Let me give you 20 dabs. 1, 2, 3. Oh, let me get some music. Hold on. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 20. Oh. 많이 공부하는 사람일지라도 가끔 시험 성적은 you should have the object marker or not object marker, topic marker or subject marker for that, since 좋다 is not an action verb. Again, thank you so much, Omar. 만에. How do I say that? 만에 활라. Is it 활라 with an H or is it joalla like with a J? 만에 joalla. I can't say it. Omar, you have to help. Omar, where'd you go? Omar! Alexis, 커피를 마실지라도 졸려요. Julia says, how is this advanced if I can understand? I explained that at the beginning of the lesson before we started. The previous form we did is more intermediate. This one is only advanced in the sense that you're probably not going to use it unless you're advanced. It's as I explained, it's one of those things where if you want to say even if, you're going to use many other forms before you need to pull out this form because it's less common. That's what makes it advanced. It's that you don't need it unless you're advanced. You can learn it. 만해주agla. Okay, I got it. 만해주agla. Okay, thank you. Because I was like, where'd the G come from? But then I don't speak that language, so who knows? It could be like you could put like a Q in there and I'll say it. 만해주agla. Okay, Omar 만해주agla. I got it. Thank you. How'd you get a check mark next to your name, though? I don't know how you got a check mark. Okay, let's do another sentence. And if you understand it, like that's great. Someone saying, well, how can it be advanced if I understand it? If you understand it, that's great. But you'll find that you could actually understand if they're explained simply. you'll find you could probably understand pretty much anything there is in Korean if it's explained simply and slowly. Yes, I'll say that. Most of Korean grammar, even the stuff that's advanced level, is very simple to conjugate and simple to understand if you just know the basics. Using it, however, is a different story. But understanding it, if you got that, that's great. That means I'm doing a good job, right? Actually, I want to write this so I can get it all in one line. So I'll do it up here. 조금 부족할지라도 꾸준히 노력해서 I actually have very fast writing if I don't try to slow myself down, and it's just like not very readable to anyone except me. So I try to write slower. In another life, I was a doctor, right? 조금 부족할지라도 꾸준히 노력해서 성공하겠습니다. 조금 부족하다. 부족하다 is to be 부족하다 is to be not enough, lacking. So even if it's a little bit not enough, so even if it's a bit lacking, 꾸준히, constantly, continually, 노력하다, to try, to put in effort. So I'm going to keep trying. 성공하다 is to succeed. So I'm going to keep trying and succeed. So I will constantly keep trying and I will succeed. Even if it's a bit lacking. So right now it may not be perfect. It's a little bit lacking. It's common to say lacking, this word 부족하다, when you're talking about your own Korean. If you kind of want to be, modest when someone compliments your Korean, it's common to say, 아니요, 아직 조금 부족해요. It's still a little lacking is a really common expression just to mean like, nah, it's not that good. It's like saying thank you, but I still have more work to do. So even though we've still got more work to do, even though it's not finished, it's not perfect. I think not perfect is a good way to translate 부족하다 as well. So even though it's not perfect, 꾸준히 노력해서 성공하겠습니다. I'm going to keep working hard and I'm going to succeed. So this wouldn't be about your Korean, but this could be maybe like, performance at a job or something like that. 조금 부족할지라도 꾸준히 노력해서 성공하겠습니다. So even if it's a bit lacking, I will keep constantly trying and I will succeed. Okay, I've got one more sentence for this form. Our last sentence, and then I'm going to talk just a little bit about the form 도, because I want to go back to that as well. You can see though how easy this is to conjugate and put in a sentence. And if you understand it, that's great. 많은 사람들이 일하고 있어요. I'll put that right here in the center. Okay. Check here. 눈에 보이지 않을지라도. So even if you can't see it, literally, even if it's not visible to your eyes. So even if you can't see it, 많은 사람들이, many people, 일하다, to work. 많은 사람들이 일하고 있어요. So even if you can't see it, there are a lot of people who are working. A lot of people are out there working, even if you can't see it. 눈에 보이지 않을지라도 많은 사람들이 일하고 있어요. This is our last sentence, and then I'm going to talk about 도 in a second. So I'll leave this up here for a second. Let's see, what's the chat saying? Lauren says, I feel fairly confident understanding it and just need to practice it to remember. Yeah, it's pretty much just, can you practice it? And then being advanced means it'll be harder to practice it without already being conversational. But I mean, you could still write it down. It is, every single form you'll find is quite simple. I also find that sometimes you'll find really complicated explanations for forms, whether in like official books or online lessons. And I think a lot of the times it's actually not. I think a lot of the times some of those things are exaggerated a bit in order to fill a lesson. Sometimes you can find that. And I mean, they're not, I'm not going to say it's wrong, but sometimes you don't really need that much information about a form to use it correctly, because certainly the native Koreans who are using that form are not thinking about when it can and can't work. They simply say, oh, this situation warrants this form, and they use it. So I think kind of simplifying, thinking about like what's the main point of this form is going to be enough for most things. And then later, if you want to learn like, oh, why did this sentence I say, why did they correct it? Then you can look and see, oh, there is this time where it shouldn't be used with this or something. There might be some exception. But I don't think you really need to focus on those when you're learning it for your first time. Just kind of take them down as notes, focus on the main points, and practice with those. Is it a bit like ﷺ? We're going to talk about, that's a different form. That would be the regular 도 form. ﷺ specifically it's used as a word, and it means like even though, even, still, despite that, yet, and that's used as a expression by itself. So you can start a sentence with that. 그래도, kind of like 그리고, like and then or and. Okay. 눈에 보이지 않을지라도 많은 사람들이 일하고 있어요. So even if you can't see it, many people are working. So even if you can't tell, lots of people are out there working hard. Okay. So that was all you need to know about torado and ﷺ지라도, pretty much. But let's go back to the, well, actually not to the future. Back to the 도 form, the regular 도 form. For example, 하다 would become 해도, like this. This uses the conjugated verb, the regular 도 form. There's one more usage that this form has that neither torado and ﷺ지라도 have. There's one situation where you have to use this one, that you could not use the others. This regular 도 form can also be used to say even if. So if you take any of our sentences that we have for any of the forms, you can swap them for this form, and the sentence will still make sense. Now, you'll lose any nuance that you had from those forms, but grammatically it will still make sense. You can swap the other forms for this, but you can't always go this way to those ones. There's one situation where it wouldn't make any sense, and that's when you're saying something even though. By that I mean something already happened. So anytime you're talking about something that's already happened and you want to say even though, you could not use torado or ﷺ지라도. Again, let's look at why. torado is only for hypothetical. So just by that alone, you wouldn't be able to say even if it's already happened. It's no longer hypothetical. 찌라도 as well. You're saying even if, but it already happened. So neither of those could be used with this sort of meaning. So if you wanted to say a sentence, for example, if you wanted to make this sentence, even though I was tired, I did my homework. You could not use torado or 찌라도 because it already happened. I already was tired. I'm not saying even if I am tired, I will do my homework. You're saying I did my homework. I've already done it. But even if I was tired, even though I was tired, I still did it. You have to use this form. So if you want to talk about something that's not hypothetical at all and it's already happened in the past, you have to use the regular tool form. So just keep that in mind. torado and ﷺ지라도 only mean even if. I'm not even sure how you can say even if I was tired, I did my homework. That would make sense in English. In Korean, though, it would not. So keep that in mind. Even if can work for torado and ﷺ지라도. Anytime you need to use this form in the past tense for anything that's already happened, just use the tool form. So that's one thing I think maybe other resources won't cover. That's a big difference. So if you wanted to say something that's already happened, use the regular tool form. So this is easy. Much easier than having to use the other ones. And this is a beginner level form. Okay, that's all you need to know about all of these three forms. The tool form, torado, and ﷺ지라도. That's it. That's all the lesson for today. So, we've got some time. 가슴 아파도 나 이렇게 웃어요. Yeah. Even though my chest hurts, not really. You should go to the hospital if that happens. Even though I'm sad. Look at me smiling, kind of like that meaning, yeah. And then Omar was asking about 그래도. 그래도 is actually just from this form. So that's a word, you would use it to start a sentence. 그래도. And it literally is from 그렇다, meaning to be so. So even though it is so. So even so is literally what that means. Even so. And you would translate that as like still or yet or anyway, that sort of meaning. Okay. So that's the lesson. We actually finished on time. Now I can take some questions. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to ask. I saw a use of 토, which is whether A or B. Well, you could use it like that. 해도, 안 해도. If you use a verb with this form, 토, followed by a negative version, so positive and then negative, 토, it's like it's literally even if you do it or even if you don't do it. So even if you go, 가도, 안 가도, but then you would have to finish that by saying like, oh, I don't care, or it doesn't matter, or it's okay, or something. You'd have to finish that sentence. Just this form by itself doesn't mean necessarily whether A or B. It's just even if you do something, even if you don't do something, and then you would finish the sentence like that. So it could be. And in the lesson, it's possible they already list that, what you would finish it with. But yeah, it could mean that. But yeah, it's not a special form, though. I'll say that. It's just this regular form. Start. Okay. Start dating. What you have is to start doing. So you need a form that says to start doing something. And the grammar form you want is you get a verb stem and you attach ki. So you get the ki form, which is basically like the ing form of a verb, which is specifically used for grammar forms. You'll usually see this form used in grammar forms, not on its own so much. So 하다, 하기, doing, and then you would use the verb to start. So 시작하다, like you have. So literally to start doing whatever it is. For dating, the verb is 사귀다. So you would take it in this form, 사귀기 시작하다, to start dating. And then you could rewrite the sentence around that. So go ahead and give it a try. I don't want to just feed you a fish. I think you could probably rewrite the sentence. I just see I got a donation. Bonnie! 수고 많으셔서 정말 감사드립니다. Thank you, Bonnie. Wow. And the board's permanently blue now. That's okay. We'll leave it like this. Bonnie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you again. I should have some tea. Okay, now it's not boiling anymore. Let's do here. Hold on. There we go. Okay. I just got a, hold on, did I just get a Blamarin. So can I share? Can I share? It's Blamarin. I'll just say it's Blamarin. Yeah, I just got a a stealth donation. So before we had Cameron, Omar, and Bonnie. Now we have another person. We'll call Blamarin. Just sent me a $100 stealth donation directly through my my website. There's like a donate button on my website. Most people don't know it, but he knows it. Blamarin knows it. Thank you so much, Blamarin. Oh man. So I got to do 100 dabs now. If only Blamarin were here to say something. Okay, let's do Adidon. I think that'd be good. Okay, 100 dabs. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50. Okay, we need some different music now. That's over. 51, 6, 9, 70. Hold on, I almost hit the thing. 6, 7, 9, 80. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. I think that's 90, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I just look like a puppet. 7, 8, like a puppet on strings. 100. Thank you, Blamarin. Hold on. Okay. I think I'm okay. I'm okay. I will never recover from that. Seriously, Blamarin. Anyway, thank you so much. We finished early, so I mean with the lesson. So I'm open to taking any more questions. Again, this was just one. So if you wanted to say start dating, let's see if we got. I don't know. Did I miss it? Did you try it again? Oh, stationary bunny. Okay. 사귀기 시작해도 혼자 있을 거예요. Yeah, like that. Even if I start dating a boyfriend, I can be alone. It is literally what it says. But yeah, that's how you use it. And this is very common. Very common construction. So yeah. Next question. Feel free to ask any other questions. Lawrence, I'm feeling tired by watching. Well, yeah, I mean, I've got a bit of a sore throat. It's not too bad. I mostly feel fine. It just affects my voice a little bit. That wasn't even the most. I think, I had like 300 a few weeks ago. So between a few people, I got like 300. And I was doing so many dabs that day. My arms hurt the next day. I'm just like trying to edit the next day, and my arms like, oh, like while I'm, editing a video. I did manage to finish the video, so it was okay. Can you use 그래도 in a child argument like still? Yeah, that's how you can use it as well. Hey, 그래도, still, like that. Yeah, that works. Because literally it's like even so. 연애를 하는데 왜 외로워? Why am I so lonely in a relationship? Yes. That's relationships, 연애란 건 그렇죠. 날씨가 좋아도 저는 아프다. So you wouldn't conjugate it. You use the unconjugated for the future tense. Oh, Alexis asks 까보다 and 까쉽다. I actually did a live stream all about those. There are a lot of them. There's like a dozen. I'll give you a tip. Every single one of those forms. So that includes 나, 싶다, 하다, 보다, 가, 지, whatever you want to combine it. You can combine all of them. There's like 100 of them. You can make so many combinations. These are much simpler than you're thinking. All they are is one form plus the other. There is no special grammar. There are some uses, like, oh, this one tends to get used when you're saying this. But literally, you can look at them as pieces. 하다 is the same thing as 생각하다. I'll just write 생각. 보다 is to see. Like it looks. You're saying something appears a certain way. 싶다 is also 생각. Or curious. Like I wonder. So that's a regular form. So you just simply learn these pieces. So you want to do 까. Let's see, what'd you ask? 까보다. 까 as in could. This is the regular 까 form. Could or would. So I wonder. So it looks like it could. It looks like it would. That's it. And there are uses. You can use that in first person. I have a live stream where you can learn how it's used. But literally, looks like it could. Looks like it would. Or what else did you have? 까쉽다. I'm curious if it could. That's it. There's my 1 second lesson on all of these. 나, is it? You know, you'll see other ones. You'll see more of these, like ha, like all of these is, that's all it is. It's don't let them confuse you. I would say don't let anyone confuse you, but really there's no one really trying to teach these like that. They are what they are. And you'll see the 까보다 also has a different, you can also use it in like first person to mean like, because 까 has two meanings, right? 까 can mean like could or would, but it also could mean like shall we or shall I? So it could also be used to say, man, I'm thinking I'm going to go somewhere. I'm thinking I might do something. It's like 갈까? 나 갈까? Should I go there? 갈까 봐. I guess I think I should go there. It's kind of like that meaning, like I guess I'll go there in that sort of sense. So it really is just the two forms combined. And sometimes you have multiple meanings just because those forms themselves have different uses. For example, 까 can mean could and would, or it can also be used when making suggestions like shall I or shall we. Okay. And yeah, and I would say don't worry about learning those separately either. I'll add that. Just learn them as you see them, because there are too many. It would really be a waste of your time to write down every single one with notes. I would just learn the individual forms and then pick a few that you think are common. Like you'll see a few of them are commonly used. Like you'll see the 나 싶다 form is used commonly when you're expressing the reason for like something you're wondering about. Like when you make a phone call, yeah, I was just wondering. It tends to use, you'll hear 나 싶다. When you're explaining, you're saying, oh, it appears like something's happened. It looks like that. You can use the 보다 endings. You'll kind of notice the uses for them, but don't stress about them individually. There are too many. 나 평생 혼자 살까 보다. That is so sad. I guess I'm just going to live alone all by myself for my whole life. 가보다, 가쉽다. 가 is not could or would though. That's a different grammar. That 가 would be equivalent with 나 in that usage. Let's see. The new I don't know, okay. What's your advice for someone who struggles to practice Korean? I have multiple books of yours and they're great. I just struggle to find time to practice. Yeah. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You need a pen pal. And I say pen pal, people laugh because, you know, these days we don't really do pen pals anymore. But you need you need a friend. Practice shouldn't be part of your studying. Like, you shouldn't have to feel like, oh, I have to practice now. You should never have to feel like that. That'll lead to burnout. Practicing should be something that you get even when you don't want to study Korean. Like when you're tired. You need to find ways that you can practice that you would still enjoy doing. Notice enjoy, even when you're tired. So, and that depends on what level you're at, what that can be. Obviously, if you're a beginner, then just watching TV in Korean is not going to be practice because you're not going to get anything out of it. Very little anyway. It can be part of your exposure, part of your Korean study, listening to Korean things with Korean subtitles, or just listening to them without any subtitles. That can be part of your practice. Part of your exposure, but your practice is really you using it. So what are some ways that you could use Korean that don't feel like you're studying or you're using it? Talking to friends is usually going to be the most applicable way to do that, even when you're a beginner. So you have a Korean friend, you want to speak to them in Korean, you use a little bit of Korean. It's fine. It's fun. You could do that even when you're kind of tired. Lay back on the couch, you're using your cell phone. You can upload stuff and put Korean captions on it. You can read tweets from your favorite K-pop celebrities and try to translate them because you actually want to know what they're saying. That sort of thing is good practice. Although using it is going to be the best, but stuff that you actually are using the language and it doesn't feel like you're taking your time out of your day to do it. So for me, it's going to be different for me because I can already just watch Korean shows. For me, I would watch some YouTubers I like, some YouTube videos in Korean. And I don't have a choice if I want to practice Korean or not. That's just, they don't have subtitles. They don't speak English. That's the video. I want to watch them. I have to listen to them in Korean. Or Twitch streamers. I also have a few friends that I message. They only speak in Korean. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't know if they know much English. I've never tried. So I have a few friends like that who I can just speak to in Korean. And I want to talk with them. So I'm going to just message them. Chatting is really good for that. So I would say try to find some things that you enjoy. If you don't have any things like that, what are your hobbies in general? Just not about Korean, but what are your hobbies? Try to find groups that are in Korean. Try to find groups you can find websites or whatever. I'm not sure. It'll depend on whatever you're doing. Try to find groups of people who have similar interests who are simply Korean. So you can search groups for whatever in Korea. They'll have Facebook groups and whatever. Try to find groups of people who are interested in what you like simply in Korean. So you might have fun finding out there's a different knowledge base in Korean than there is in the US or in other countries. So that's what I recommend. 커피숍에서 일해도 아직 커피를 마시지 않아요. Yeah, I don't drink coffee either. I've actually never tried coffee before. Haven't tried coffee. I never liked the smell as a kid, so I never tried it. Caffeine though, I've had that, but I'm very sensitive to it. So if I have a little bit, I'm okay. But if I have a lot of it, a full cup of tea's worth or 2 cups of tea's worth, then I get they'll get sick, kind of I'll get a headache and I'll feel kind of weak. So I said, Anyang, what do I use to translate words? Translating words, you don't even, it's true Papago is better for that. But Papago is not going to be accurate either. If you want to just translate individual words, use a dictionary. That's actually what I'm doing tomorrow. Believe it or not, I'm writing an episode about how to use Naver Dictionary. So I'll be filming it later. I'm not filming it tomorrow. I'll film it later, but you'll see that uploaded sometime in the next month or so. A couple of videos I'm going to be working on this week. Yeah, it'll be how to use Naver Dictionary. I recommend Naver Dictionary for looking up words. How to use it, well, if you use it a lot, you'll kind of figure it out. But basically, you just type the word, you click the English dictionary part, and you look at the definition, and that's it. Yeah, and Naver also gives lots of example sentences. That's right, Lauren. So it's great. So if you don't know how to use a word, you can see example sentences right there. And if you look up a word, you're like, how do I say this? And you check the example sentences and you think, wow, I don't understand any of these sentences at all. Then maybe that word you're looking up, maybe that word is not the specific one you're looking for. If it's a simple word, but you don't understand a single sentence it's being used in, it might not be the word you were looking for. It could be a different word. But usually those also have translations in English as well, so you could even check if that's the word that you were looking for. So I really like Naver for that. It's great. Okay, I can take just 2 more questions. 2 more questions for today. Omar says, a review of when you can more naturally use... yeah. I did... I did do a lesson, actually a live stream all about that. Recently, just a few months ago, I think. So make sure to check that out. It'll be in the Google document. Let me link that here. I'll put it in the chat as well. Yeah, I did a live stream all about those. If you're just saying someone does something, so someone does something, it doesn't have to be the same subject, but it depends on the sentence. But I think it's pretty simple the way I explain it. This whole basically is just cause and effect. So you can think of it as meaning such and such causes the second part of the sentence. And if it makes sense logically to you, it'll fit. Whereas unika is not. Unika doesn't have necessarily a cause feeling. It's just something because of. Something is the origin of or the reason for, not necessarily it directly caused something. That's the main difference. And 도도보치, I also did a video all about the 시옷 and the 쌍시옷 in a Korean FAQ video. You can find that on my channel. So I teach how to make the different sounds. So like you can have like the regular one, sa, and then sa. Well, I can't really yell at my throat, but you get the idea. Sa. So if you tense it and it won't move the paper, you can't really see this with the paper though. If I do it with a tissue, probably see it better with a tissue. Don't have a tissue right here. Anyway, check out the video, the Korean FAQ for how to do that. It's not changing though. It's just that if you see it with any E sound, it becomes an SH sound. So that's really the only thing there is to it. Aparna says it's almost 4 a.m. in India. Wow. You would never catch me awake at 4 a.m. Except before I had a kid. Then yes, I was up till 4 very often. That's actually when I did most of my work. Most of the videos that I wrote before I had a kid, I was working, editing them, writing them up until like 4, 5, 6 in the morning sometimes. That's when I work. That's when I got the best work done. Nowadays, though, since having a kid, that's not possible anymore, but it used to be. Ayakata says, a Korean teacher recommended me Daum dictionary. Yeah. Daum, the reason some people like that better, I don't, but the reason some people do is because it's simpler. So yeah, feel free to use it. I mean, I prefer Naver because I like that it gives me just too much information. It's everything I want and more. But some people don't like that. And it can be a bit overwhelming, I agree. So that's why they might recommend Daum. But Daum is sometimes when I need it for like really detailed stuff, it won't have the information, so I just don't use it. But if you're still a beginner, then it could be a little more effective than Naver. I just think it's best to learn how to use Naver and use Naver every time. But yeah, there are a few other dictionaries too. There's also a Korean learners dictionary even. There's a official like Korean dictionary that's like made by the National Institute of the Korean Language. Then that one's really great as well. 최고의 선생님이에요. 너무 감사합니다. Thank you, 이겼다님. I was watching the Taxi Driver movie. The Taxi Driver movie. Do you mean the movie Taxi Driver? Because there's a lot of movies about taxi driving. There was Collateral with Tom Cruise. There was wasn't Driving with Daisy also like Taxi Driver, I guess? There was that other movie. What was that other movie? Anyway, there's a lot of taxi driver movies. I guess you wouldn't really call him a taxi driver, but Drive with Ryan Gosling is kind of technically a taxi driver movie, right? He's kind of like a taxi driver. He was more of a chauffeur. I guess that's, yeah, more of a chauffeur. Sure. But he still drove a taxi. It's still kind of like a taxi, right? It's a taxi chauffeur. Anyway, yeah. Baby Driver. That's right. Baby Driver. Technically another taxi driver movie. This is a whole genre, an untapped genre of taxi driver movies. Baby Driver. Literally any movie where a character is driving. A Transporter, I believe 1 and 2. Maybe 3. I didn't see it. Actually, I didn't even see 2. Yeah, there's a lot of these taxi driver movies. What other taxi driver movies are we missing? Taxi driver. Ah, there was a Korean one as well. Okay. I didn't see that. I thought you were really just talking about... And there's also the TV show Taxi, which has a young... Well, he's still old, but Christopher Lloyd, he's been old since he was like 20. Yeah, Jason Statham. Okay. I have heard... So if you go to Korea, you'll meet people who tell you, oh, you look like... Insert celebrity name here. It's common. Because they don't know enough non-Koreans. They don't know enough foreigners. So they're just trying to kind of say, oh, you look the most to me like this one person that I know. And sometimes with younger people, it'll be like more accurate. You know, they're more familiar with celebrities. But older people are less familiar with non-Korean celebrities. So when I go there, sometimes I'll meet older Korean people, 40, 50, 60, usually 50, 60 and older. They'll be like, oh, hey, you look like... And they'll give me like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, no way. Like, I've gotten Sean Connery without a beard twice, 2 different people. Like, ridiculous. It makes no sense. I was going to say, because I've gotten Jason Statham like 3 times. Like, no, you don't even know. I don't look anything. It's like zero resemblance. It's just funny. I'm just telling you this because it's funny. I don't think anything is, I don't think that's accurate at all. It's just funny. And if you go to Korea, if you spend some time in Korea, you'll get this as well. People will tell you, you look like so and so, and you'll be like, no. So I should have written them down, but I did get a lot of funny ones. Like when they would tell me, like they're trying to say it sincerely. I guess that's the only person they could think of. Like that's the only person that was white, I guess, that came in their mind. Oh, you look like this person. So yeah. Anyway, if you have any stories about that, though, please share them with me as well. I'm curious, who have you been compared to in Korea? Who has someone told you that you look like before? Yeah, Andy Samberg, I get that. Like every few days, I get Andy Samberg. I get Charlie Puth like daily, and I kind of accept that. I kind of can see it. I think if Charlie Puth smiled a lot more, I think it would be very similar to how I look. So I'll accept that one. But the other ones, I can't really see it. And really, even Andy Samberg, I can't see it that much. How do you answer that? Just 감사. Yeah, you just say, 감사합니다. You just say thanks. Like, what are you going to do? You're not going to argue with them about it. You just kind of laugh and say thank you. Sometimes, though, I would be like, yeah, I've got 2 eyes, a 1 nose. We're perfect. We're twins. 비리가 잘생겼다는 말임. Yeah, I don't think it's that. No, it's not that. It's just you look like I only know 3 celebrities and I'll pick you. The other 2 are females, so I think that might be the reason why. And the people you get compared with will be that generation's celebrities that they know. So younger people will know younger celebrities. Older people will know older celebrities like that. That's why I heard Sean Connery twice, because it was from older people who are fans of his. Yeah, Jason Statham. Zero similarity. I have heard though a few times that it kind of is Sokofil. What's his? I only know his Korean name is Sokopil, but I don't know his regular name. He's the guy from Prison Break with the shaved head. I've heard that I look like him from Korea. A few Koreans who were in their early 40s, and I don't think so. But that's another one that I've heard that people say I kind of resemble. I don't think I'm like half as attractive as a lot of these people I get compared to, though. But that's another one that I kind of saw a little bit of similarity. I think it's like the eyebrows, kind of like the Charlie Puth eyebrows. He also has those as well. Schofield, yeah, Schofield. I only know Sokopir is a Korean name. They call Schofield. You look like Thor. Thor. I'm assuming you mean Chris Hemsworth. not the actual Thor from Norse mythology. We don't know what that guy looked like. Okay, anyway, I think that's enough for today. Thank you everyone for coming. I got more people. 10 more people joined in the past 10 minutes while I was talking about random celebrities I don't look like. Okay, thank you everyone for coming, and I will see you again next week. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Oh, and thank you again also to Cameron, Omar, Bonnie, and Blamarin for their donations for the stream. Okay, bye.